Welcome to How We Grow, an essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz, with your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. I'm Lynell Gordon, your host, and I have a really special guest here today, Cara Shimizu. And Cara, she specializes, guys, in vacation rental decorating, decor. Everything you need to know about the inside of your vacation rental, she's got it in her head. So I am really thankful that you're here. Thank you for joining us. I'm excited for this program.
Oh, thank you, Lynell. I'm happy to be here.
So you've been doing vacation rentals for the past 5 years, full-time doing that. You were in decorating before that, but you have a very interesting background. Tell me a little bit about what you did before that.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So my first degree, I have a doctor of pharmacy degree. So I'm a pharmacist first in my career, and I also have a minor in music. My instrument was the organ. And so that's my first background. And then I also have become now an interior designer. So that's kind of a different path than most interior designers take, but it's been a lot of fun. And I think that my background in music and pharmacy really has made me analytical to see formulas, to see patterns. So it's been helpful as a designer.
So you're very smart and very creative. So that's that's like left brain, right brain. You've got the best of both worlds.
Oh.
So here we talk about how to grow our vacation rentals. Tell me what you think the number one thing that property managers can tell to their homeowners to help rent their vacation rentals.
I would say the number one thing is to make their listing photos stand out online. And there's some really specific tactics and strategies for them to know how to do it. So I think that's the bottom line, because if their listing is eye-catching, they're going to get clicks, which lead to bookings, which lead to revenue. How your property looks is the first line of interaction between the owner and the guest, and it needs to be a good one.
So what are some of the strategies you would tell people to employ for their photos?
Right. So I have three main strategies. I call them the Trinity, and I promise no blasphemy to our Christian friends out there. These are the three main players that I have seen that make the biggest difference in an owner's bottom line. So number one in the Trinity is vivid color. It's the easiest way to make a property eye-catching. And to illustrate how color makes a difference, I have a quick story for it. Let's pretend that we're going on a car trip together and we start out in the car. It's a rainy day and it's all gray, and we pass a whole bunch of fields and they're all gray and muddy. But then the sky suddenly clears and we come upon a field of wildflowers, and it is gorgeous. We stop, get out of the car, and admire the flowers, admire the color. Let's now compare that to being on a listing website like Vrbo or Airbnb. We are looking for a place to stay, and we start scrolling, and we see a lot of gray and brown and tan. You scroll more and see more, a bunch of gray and brown. It starts to look like a muddy field. But then we suddenly come upon a listing with vivid color, and it really catches our eye. So we want to stop and click on that particular listing. And that's the power of vivid color.
That's cool. What's your second in your trio?
The second is white walls, because white gives the impression of clean, and clean is what renters want first and foremost. So if you imagine a nice room with great furniture and art, and it has gray walls, and then imagine the same room with white walls, and the white looks so fresh and bright. It provides a lovely backdrop for your furniture, and it feels clean.
Well, that's awesome. What would number 3 be?
The third strategy in the Trinity is something Instagrammable. And by Instagrammable, I mean something unique and memorable. When you have an Instagrammable feature, it can really make your property stand out. And also it can result in repeat guests. I know a family who goes to the same vacation rental every year because it has a life-size figure of Vader. There's nothing else notable. Nothing else notable about this property except the Darth Vader. And their kids are older teenagers now, but they still go every year, repeat guests for the Darth Vader.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
So what other things do you think that property managers should share or can do themselves. See, that's something a property manager can do. That's not even something the homeowner has to do.
Right.
So what other things can property managers do to help grow their inventory or their rentals?
So to grow the income, I think that they should encourage the owners to make their listing stand out. And they can share some good hard numbers with their owners or their clientele. And I do have some hard numbers. So beyondbnb.com did an internal analysis, and they found that rental properties that get an update to their decor charge 20% more on average versus before their decor update. And with my own clients, they charge a whopping 84% to 153% more after working with me. And all my clients charge in the top 10% of their area competitors. So I've experienced firsthand what a big difference in revenue great decorating makes for owners, for property managers. And I think that potential for high earning is just so exciting. Correct VR decorating, it's different from regular decorating. Good, correct VR decorating is an investment that really pays you back.
Wow, that's significant. That really is. That's a lot.
Big difference.
What other types of things do you want to share with property managers?
If they get pushback, perhaps from their clientele, maybe what they could tell them is that, color is so eye catching. They could share that story about going on a road trip. You see the wildflowers so much better. It's similar to being on the Airbnb website or Vrbo website. And then they can also tell them, color for strategy, that can happen in a day. So what they can do is the property manager or the owner can go to a Home Goods or HomeSense, find a large piece of art with 3 or more colors, and then buy some pillows and accessories in those same colors and sprinkle those items throughout the room where the art is hung. And then they can take the very best photos that they can in daylight, post those on their listing. And even this will make a difference in how eye-catching their property will be. And then, of course, I recommend professional photos as soon as possible to make their space really look its best.
For sure. For sure. What advice would you give to homeowners other than a pop of color that they can do directly?
Right. Well, I definitely would look into something Instagrammable, something unique and memorable. I could share a couple of examples if you'd like.
That'd be great.
Yeah, there are just so many ways to make it Instagrammable. It's one of my very favorite topics. One way is to have a mascot like the Darth Vader, a life-size figure. Another is, perhaps you'd like to go big and you're going to put in a pool. Well, you can make it a really fun shape, like a cactus, if your VR is in the desert, for example. Another idea that's pretty simple is to bring the outdoors in, like having an indoor waterfall. They can just hook up to near your water source and plug in the wall, and you've got a waterfall that runs. It's lovely. Of course, there's always the idea of using a theme. There are many themes. Almost anything could become a theme. I know a VR owner with a Baby Yoda theme, and that property does great. So those are a few examples of Instagrammable features.
Built by property managers for property managers. Streamline is a powerful software that gives managers enterprise-level capabilities to drive more revenue and improve operational efficiency. Migrating to Streamline allows property managers to gain functionality while reducing the need for multiple vendors, improving flow by logging into a single system and reducing redundant technology costs. With Streamline, property managers achieve revenue lifts by leveraging our fully fledged communication center, reservations quoting system, revenue management tools, homeowner acquisition CRM, and powerful direct OTA connections. Streamline also has industry-leading trust accounting and report capabilities to give you clarity in an overall company performance. Learn more about Streamline Vacation Rental Software at streamlinevrs.com.
So using themes, Instagrammable features, I guess the best bang for your buck you've already given us. What other advice would you give to property managers?
I think know their clientele, know what works. Like if they do encourage Instagrammable, maybe the owners are going to say, well, what would I put in there? Well, the way to do that is look at your area, like a cactus theme if you're in the desert, or of course, Disney, if you're near Disneyland. Those are pretty standard. So just have in your back pocket where you live. And that's one of the ways I would encourage property managers.
What about clutter? What do we say
Um,
to our homeowners who are afraid of the void?
oh, right. White space is beautiful space. Dead space is live space, actually. So, no clutter. I hope it goes without saying, get rid of all the extraneous things. Encourage your owners to, even on the kitchen counter, put everything away as much as you can. Maybe you'll leave the toaster out and the coffee maker, but everything else should be put away. Clear those flat surfaces. Have only one large piece of art. Don't put a few all over the walls, kind of floating out in nowhere. So, yeah, no clutter. Another thing I would recommend, just another general rule of thumb, is that with art, rugs, and curtains, another trinity, kind of another trio, rugs, art, and curtains, those are better when they're bigger. Bigger is better. For sure, choose items that are durable, unbreakable. For instance, don't get a ceramic lamp because it will be knocked over and broken. Get a resin lamp or a metal lamp, for example. And investments like that last a lot longer. They don't cost anymore. You just need to be aware. Watch for those things. I always recommend white bedding and towels. I know not everybody ascribes to that, but I think they're luxurious and easy to clean, relatively easy to clean, and very easy to replace when you need to. Those are the thoughts that come to my mind right now.
So for owners, do you suggest to them that they do it like the themes don't always lend to clean or
Correct.
even modern. So what are your thoughts there? How do you balance that?
Yeah, great question. So, not every room has to have a theme. It could be just one room. For example, that family I know, they just have the only thing in that rental is that Darth Vader, and they just think it's the best thing in the world. It doesn't have to be everywhere, and it doesn't have to be a theme. It could be a swing that you hang from the wall or hang from the ceiling. You bring the outdoors in again. And none of those things have to be expensive for sure either. They're very doable and easy ways to make your property stand out.
Are all white walls equal or are there different colors of white that we should be thinking about?
Yeah, there are about 85 colors of white out there.
Oh my goodness.
It is really tricky. There's a color I recommend in 90+% of cases. It's by Benjamin Moore, and the color is called White Dove. And that seems to work really well with all the lighting, all the undertones that might be in the room. White Dove is a great place to start.
What about colors of the house itself?
As far as like wood tones or metal tones, or
As far as painting your house on the outside. So here's what I always thought. I thought that blue, like I don't remember where I read this, like blue houses rent better, which I didn't take into account with my house here. It's actually a beautiful, I call it melon. It's a pretty like orangey, gorgeous color. In my opinion, it's gorgeous. It's like a cantaloupe. I like it. So which colors really rent well?
Oh, for sure. I think that color would rent great again because it's a little out of the ordinary. I think that people should have a color on their house if they can. I know that a lot of people have brick, which is wonderful. They don't need to paint that if they don't want to. And what you could do in that case is paint the front door a fun color, a bright yellow, a chartreuse green, a melon color, cantaloupe color. That would be wonderful. When you're painting and choosing colors for your house, remember that blue and green, those are colors that we see in large amounts in nature. So they're comforting. You know, we see large swaths of blue sky and large swaths of green grass. And so those are familiar and comforting, and not just your plain tan house, for example. So that's really nice. A lot of homes are built on a foundation of brick or what looks like a foundation. You know, the brick or the stone will go up partway up the front of the facade of their home. You need to be careful choosing color then because you have to coordinate with the undertones. So that's a little more involved. But I think that painting your front door is such a low commitment idea. I think it's definitely worth trying that at least.
One of the things you've said that's really stuck in my head, I'm trying to get it out to move on, but I loved it. You're talking about Instagrammable. And guys, I want you to think about this. When she says Instagrammable, she's talking about marketing here. You know, this is a marketing strategy. It makes it memorable. It makes it interesting. So that's the kind of thing that when I think about Instagram and think about Pinterest, think about all the houses that we save because they're pretty on Pinterest. I'm a very plain decorator, as you can see from my background, it's white. And if it's not white, then it should be white. And if it's not white, then it should be a beautiful, pretty color of blue-green. And if it's not pretty and blue-green, then it should be orange. Just say melon.
Right, melon.
I'm so boring. With gold accents, please, and white cabinets, just saying. Is that too boring to have like a house that's totally white like that?
I think it can be great. You could call it whitewashed in Detroit or something, So it doesn't have to be. It depends on how you are advertising it and marketing it. That is something great that I'd like to touch on about an Instagrammable feature. It is free advertising. What owners can do, something really practical, is place signs around the property, encouraging guests to take selfies beside the Instagrammable thing and then post their selfies on social media along with the hashtag of their rental's name. So, that's free advertising. And in addition, posting on social media at your VR helps guests feel like they're part of the property. And people love that. They love to feel like they're part of something. So it can be a major element of your marketing.
That is awesome. I've loved listening to your advice. If people wanted to get in touch with you, say property managers or even property owners, how would they get in touch with you, Cara, to get your help?
Oh, they can find me at my website. It's www.vrdecor.co. That's VR as in vacation rental, decor.co. And I have a great page there full of free resources. So I'd love for you to check it out. And you can also get in touch with me there.
I really loved this. This was a lot of fun. I think that your trinity there will go over very well. And it's very quick and easy things. And they're not expensive. Not one thing that you said is expensive. That's the thing that surprises me.
Right.
New pictures. Now, new pictures can be very expensive. But I mean, and they should be professionally done. But still, it's all very affordable and very easy. And guys, you should take this information and put it in your handbook for your homeowners so that they have an idea about decor. Because I have lots of questions when I repainted my house. I was like, what color should I repaint it, etc. So thanks again for being with us. And thanks, guys, for being with us this podcast. And we hope we'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynell. Thank you so much for all you do for our industry.
Sure, I'm happy to do it.
This episode of How We Grow is brought to you by Streamline. To find out more about how Streamline can help grow your vacation rental business, visit streamlinevrs.com. Make sure to search for How We Grow in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.